Hello and welcome to our special program To The Point. Today we have with us a senior leader of the Congress Party who is also considered a very young leader who has been given a very important responsibility of late, and he is Randeep Surjewala, the new chairman of the media department of the Congress Party. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let me begin with your elevation to this most important post, or rather one of the most important posts in the party organization, that is the chairman of the media department. Now, there were a lot of names which were doing down, and those names were of senior leaders, but ultimately it seems the leadership chose you as the person who is most suitable one for this particular post. There's also a sort of a perception that Randeep Surjewala's appointment as the chairman of the media department is the first appointment of the Rahul era in AICC.
Well, let me begin by saying, Vishal, that I'm greatly humbled by the faith reposed both by Mrs. Gandhi as also Congress by Vice President Rahul Gandhi. Having said that, there is no adversarial position here. Inter se various political leaders in the party, all of us are Congress workers. Our principal job is A, to fight the battle of people on the ground, and B, to articulate party's viewpoint and people's viewpoint through party's fora. And that is what we seek to do. I have worked for long years with Mrs. Gandhi during NDA rule as Indian Youth Congress President. I have worked as Secretary of the All India Congress Committee, working President of the State Congress, a minister in the state. So I'm honored that both Vice President and Congress President feels that I can shoulder this responsibility, but it has to be shouldered collectively and not individually by me alone.
Okay, but what's the harm in saying that this is an indication of the change which is awaited by many, not only outside the party but within the party as well? Your appointment is a sort of an indication that more such changes will take place in the organization.
Vishal, I look at it like this. Any organization is an evolutionary mechanism. A Congress, Indian National Congress, which is the oldest party in the country and perhaps in the Asian continent and the world, has always been an evolutionary organization. In this evolutionary organization, there is space for the senior most people with experiences, and there is space for people far, far younger to me with far greater vigor and vitality, and for people like me who have some experience and some energy. So there is space for everybody. Mr. Rahul Gandhis, as Vice President of the party, does not shun experience and does not shun seniority. Rahulji constantly, consciously takes the counsel of senior most people in the party, and please remember his comment of Dr. Manmohan Singh being his guru. So, experience and youthful energy both are required for revitalizing the great Indian National Congress.
Okay, there are two points which you made, and there are two specific questions which I already have. One is about the evolution of the party. The other is about the vice president of your party, that's Rahul Gandhi, giving due importance to the seniors. Now, the underlying implication which I get out here is that there is no tussle within the party between the so-called old guard and the new guard.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's figment of people's imagination. It's also at times, if you permit me to say so, plants by certain vested interests to create fissures where none exist.
From within the party?
I would say a lot of it is coming from our friends in the opposition. Okay. But the simple point is, be it the Congress Vice President or Congress President or all of us, we are on the same page. There is no position which is adversarial. There is a position of commitment to the party's ideas, of meeting of minds, and of holding hands and working together to espouse people's cause, introspect, correct where we have gone wrong, and move ahead.
So, are you rejecting the suggestions or the perceptions rather which were given out when Mr. Gandhi, the younger Gandhi, that's Rahul Gandhi, was on a sabbatical, that this was due to a tussle between the old guard and the new guard, wherein he wanted some changes which was opposed by the senior leaders within the party. Are you rejecting that particular reason behind his being on a extended leave?
Absolutely, Vishal. I reject it completely as totally untrue, incorrect and unfair, both to Mr. Gandhi as also to the party. Where does a political leader not have a right, particularly after the kind of defeat that the Indian National Congress suffered first in Lok Sabha and then in many states, to rethink about party's path forward, to rethink how to invigorate the party, to rethink as to how to re-energize the party, and to carve out by constantly thinking about our ideology, principles and the path forward as to how to strengthen it further. That's all.
Yeah, you're right, perfectly right. Everybody has a right to go ahead and introspect. Even in every profession, everybody has a right to go ahead and take a leave, introspect, maybe go on a sabbatical. But most of us, rather, if not all of us, also keep in mind the timing of our leaves which we take, the sabbatical. It should not harm the organization which we work for. Do you not agree with me and others who are pointing it out as well, that the timing of this leave taken by the vice president of your party could have been managed a little while well, because it came bang at the beginning of the budget session when your party was opposing several important ordinances and legislations which were being proposed by the government?
I look at it like this. I think one can continue to question timings, mannerisms, methodologies, but the purpose we should not forget. Indian National Congress is led by Mrs. Gandhi and our Vice President Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He has taken a leave of absence from the party and party's high command to think through a strategy as how to reinvigorate the party. The other side, there are many issues that will come on a daily basis. Today Parliament is not in session. 66A IT Act has been quashed. Congress President and Vice President are always there to guide. As far as principal bills that were coming before Parliament, if I may just point out one or two to you, Land Acquisition, Right to Fair Compensation Act 2013 was really a product of the movement that Rahul Gandhi ji launched from Bhatta Parsol in Uttar Pradesh.
And wasn't that the specific reason that he should have been there to lead the party inside the house and outside the house?
That's what I'm saying. Let me just complete my sentence, two more sentences. Right to Fair Compensation Act was passed with complete political unanimity, including BJP states on board after 3 years of discussion. Both the opposition, all opposition in the entire ruling party, then the Congress party voting for it. Today, when its soul, spirit, body is being killed, the entire party is following the path and the ideology that was conceived by Rahul Gandhi ji. Shrimati Sonia Gandhi is herself leading, Congress president is leading. So I have met thousands of Congress workers who say, well, Rahul ji may not be here present physically, but the idea that he espoused and the ideas that he stood for and the ideas that he fought for that led to change of the 1894 Act, all of us are Rahul Gandhi, all of us are working towards the same goal, and Congress president is here to lead us.
Okay, now let's talk about the other thing which you pointed out, and I already had a question regarding that. You said it's a very old party, and evolution is a part and parcel of Congress party's culture. The party evolves, new leaders come in, there is a space for everyone, seniors, juniors, people who have experience, vigor. So the next step in the evolution seems to be Rahul Gandhi taking over as party president. What light can you shed on that? When is that going to happen? The wait seems to have been extended a little more, it seems.
Well, Vishal, that's a question that we have been asked many times over the last few years, but let me put it like this. As to when Mr. Rahul Gandhi will take over or not is a question that will be decided by Congress High Command and the Congress Working Committee. But my point is a slightly bigger. Is Congress President and Congress Vice President, are they present both in their by leading on ideology as also on issues, on various issues and championing people's cause. Yes, he is very much part of the party's decision making structure. Rahul Gandhi is very much a part of party's policy making structure, as also somebody who leads the party. He led us in various campaigns in the states, he led us in parliament. We may lose some, we may win some. He led us even before this parliament in many elections that we won. So he will continue to lead us.
So then what's the hesitation in saying or in making in public that yes, fine, this is the schedule, as per the schedule, Mr. Rahul Gandhi may or may not take over as president of the party, maybe in next month or in few months, or this will take a few more years. Why not bring clarity, about the leader who is so important to the party and who has been leading the party, as you said right now, in several electoral victories and defeats all through these years. So why not make it, make this statement time specific?
Well, Vishal, I appreciate and respect your point, and I understand the curiosity of viewers as also Congress people across the country. But the simple point is that Congress president and vice president both continue to lead the party. And as to when a leadership change will further happen or not happen will be decided by Congress working committee and Congress president in consultation with Congress vice president, and we shall inform. Why are we in a rush? Why are we wanting to put specific dates, and why do you want me to announce those dates on Rajya Sabha TV?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the decision taken by your party's leadership seems to have been in the right direction, because you're not exactly revealing as to what might happen as far as the evolution process is concerned. Okay, let me ask you one more question before we go into the break. That also pertains with the Gandhi family. A lot of demands have been made within the party itself, by leaders, by workers, that it's high time that the third Gandhi family member, that's Priyanka Gandhi, should make a foray into the politics now formally, should join the party, should take some sort of responsibility. So is that on the cards, or is that completely ruled out as of now?
Well, let me put it like this. Miss Priyanka Gandhi is an important part of Nehru Gandhi family. She is, after all, the daughter of late Shri Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, and sister of Rahul Gandhi. Miss Priyanka Gandhi has defined her own role. I, as an individual, have right to define my political role. She has defined her political role and restricted it to the two parliamentary seats of her brother and her mother, Rai Bareli and Amethi, with which family has had a traditional bonding like a family member. And she has defined her role. She has decided not to expand her role. We must respect her decision. And Congress has respected her decision to define her own role.
Okay, let's take a short break here, and when we come back, we will have a lot more questions for Mr. Surjewala about the future roadmap of the party, as well as the party's stand on several issues which are being raised by the Congress party's leader, both inside and outside the parliament. Welcome back. Mr. Randeep Surjewala is still with us. Sir, let's now talk about the revival plan of the party. Since, it has been almost 9 to 10 months since that humiliating defeat in the Lok Sabha elections, 1. 2, which was followed by successive defeats in assembly elections. A lot of time has passed for the Congress party's leaders and workers to introspect as to what can be done to bring the party back on the track. As part of this entire process, we saw that the Congress party's vice president held consultations with several leaders, and then we are being told that the state unit chiefs were asked to go ahead and take views from their own office bearers and party workers and send in a report as to what exactly can be done. But not many reports have come in, not many answers have come in. We are being told by our sources that the response has not been very enthusiastic. It seems again the entire idea of putting the party back on track, the revival plan, seem to have been floundered somewhere.
I would put it like this. I think Shri Rahul Gandhi is perhaps the only political leader who had the courage of conviction to openly discuss, deliberate issues, as also look at the path and reasons as to where we went wrong and why did we lose. He held personal consultations, unlike any other leader who perhaps would not do after such a big loss, with close to 1,000 Congress leaders of various stature personally. He also held consultations with parties, general secretaries, party presidents, etc. Lots of opinions have come. And I think once Mr. Rahul Gandhi returns, he would have given it a final shape and the way ahead. But having said that, can you not notice that in 9 months, as Modi government has floundered, as they have breached every promise that they had made to people, from bringing back black money to now killing the soul, as also taking away the bread of the farmers? Congress is the one which is in the forefront of leading people's movement for change and demanding accountability. And I think that itself, our state units are fighting, our district units are fighting, parties fighting at national level. We are creating issues inside and outside the parliament. We are championing people's issues. We are becoming their voice and we are fighting for their rights. This is what a principal opposition's role is.
Okay, fine. You said responses have come in from the state units and from several leaders during the consultation process. If not tell us what the main responses are, then at least can we or can the viewers know as to what is the main focus areas of the party's revival plan?
Vishal, you would permit us and respect that a party has had a free and frank internal discussions on various issues, as also course corrections required, as also ideological moorings of the party, as also the way forward. I think it needs to be crystallized. Individual ideas can neither be deliberated in the short span of time that you have here, nor can one person's out of thousands of people who have given ideas be the sole center point for discussing the way forward. Mr. Gandhi will crystallize this, will have his own application of mind, introspect, think over and provide the way forward. In the meanwhile, we will continue to fight on the various promises and that Modi government had made to the people, the way it has floundered, the way economy has floundered, the way 60% of India's population, the farmer is crying, the way government employees are crying, and the way autocracy is the order of the day with no minister having any power. I think all these are issues we are raising.
Okay, fair enough. We, or rather anyone would give it to you that this is an internal process of the party. So, it's up to you guys to go ahead and deliberate and chart out a future course of action. Let's talk about issues now. You said, in your answer to the previous question that the Congress party has championed the cause of the people, has raised voices. One very important stand which was taken by the Congress party at the onset of this, even before the budget session began, was to oppose the ordinances which were put in place or which were promulgated by the NDA government led by BJP in the past few months, be it on FDI and insurance, be it on coal blocks, be it on mines and minerals, land acquisition and few others as well. In this session, which is the first part of the session, which is concluded, more than 70 to 80% of these ordinances have now been made into laws. So, don't you think that Congress has handed over BJP a very easy victory by letting the government turn these ordinances into bills or acts through giving them passage through both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? Fine, Lok Sabha you don't have numbers, but Rajya Sabha, you're the principal opposition party, you have the numbers.
I look at it like this. For Congress, country's development is first. Mrs. Gandhi has always said that the first issue that we should address is country's development. And our support to the insurance bill, which was obstructed by none other than BJP, and the father of obstructionism in parliament, Mr. Arun Jaitley himself, who obstructed everything for decades and now calls it's like the pot calling the kettle black. If you see, Congress is the one, without Congress support, the insurance bill would not have gone through. On other issues like the land acquisition, we have fundamental differences. And if I was to articulate it in 4 lines, A, Right to Fair Compensation Act was passed with political unanimity across board after discussion for 36 months.
In 2013.
Why? In 2013. BJP voted for it. What changed in 9 months? Number 2, the act has not been implemented. Why do you think it's flawed? 3, when you voted for it, was that a political jumla? Or now you are opposing it? Are you doing it so to help some crony capitalists? Being pro-farmer is not being anti-development. But when you take away the bread and butter, the soul and life of the farmer, and you hand it over to certain crony capitalist, and for that if you are amending the Land Acquisition Act, that is our opposition in principle, and that is why government has seen that even their own allies, be it the Shiv Sena, be it the Akali Dal Badal, and be it many others, have openly opposed, from platforms where Prime Minister was present. On the mines and minerals bill that has gone through despite our opposition, you win some, you lose some. Ours was a principled stance that the coal mines should not be nationalized in a fashion where Coal India Limited has no right and country's precious resources are handed over completely to private sector. We've always said private sector has a role in coal mining, its exploitation, but a principal role must always be with CIL for the simple reason that all PSUs which supply electricity to you and me are run by the government, they are not run by private companies. So, let us not throw people of India to the vagaries of market forces whose profit motive may be the only driver for whom. Because PSU who supply electricity, they have to buy precious coal and they have to be supplied coal at a definite price.
Okay, one of the very important argument which was given by leaders of your party for opposing the ordinances which were promulgated by the NDA government on all these issues was that most of these ordinances were on policy issues, and your party says that the government should not bring ordinances on policy issues, rather they should be brought in the form of a bill, they should be discussed inside the parliament and then rejected or accepted, passed or be made into law. But then this is not the first time, and that's what the government's argument is, that it is not the first time that ordinances have been brought in such issues. They were brought during your government as well, and incidentally Congress party is the party which has ruled this country for maximum number of years, so a maximum number of ordinances would obviously be brought by your party only. So why this opposition saying that don't bring on policy issues, don't bring ordinances?
I agree. Ordinance making power is part of the constitutional process. All that we've said, don't abuse the constitutional process in a fashion where it becomes a mockery. You let the parliament be prorogued, and then on the New Year's, you kill the soul and spirit of Right to Fair Compensation Act by bringing in an ordinance. Why? Why did the Modi government not bring it in shape of a bill during last parliament? After all, it had to be deliberated now. Now they have not dared to produce the Right to Fair Compensation Ordinance 2014. Now they have not placed it before Rajya Sabha. They have got it passed in Lok Sabha by using the tyranny of their majority in the Lok Sabha. But dissent is a very important feature. Ordinance can be brought to meet with urgency provisions, exigencies of a situation, but not to subterfuge the lack of majority or lack of consent of people on a particular issue.
Okay, one very important issue which has recently come across is the issue of freedom of expression. And just recently the Supreme Court has also struck down the provisions under 66A of the IT Act. What is your party's stand on this?
Our party stance has been very, very clear. Congress has always stood for liberal thought processes, right to dissent both of individuals, organizations and groups, right to criticize both the government policies and other individuals. But we must also remember, your liberty finishes where my liberty begins. In garb of right of dissent or right to disagree or right to criticism, one should not use material that is prima facie obscene or pornographic to defame another person. Guidelines, while 66A when constituted, it seemed fair to us. It does seem that guidelines were not adequate, as Supreme Court has said, to regulate it, and many times it has been misused. It is now for government of the day to have wider deliberations and ensure that the right to criticize and right to dissent and the freedom of expression is not diluted, but individual freedom of speech should also not be diluted, and a balance needs to be struck inter say the two, so that nothing obscene, nothing objectionable or patently defamatory vis-a-vis any individual is placed by another individual, breaching the other individual's right to liberty also.
Okay, this was a very major issue during your party's tenure in the power. Another very important issue which was there during your party's tenure in the power, and in fact a decision which was taken by your government, that's the UPA government in its second tenure, just a day before the Model Code of Conduct was put in force, was reservation for the Jat community. That is something which was again struck down by the Supreme Court, by the apex court, and there were reasons given. So, in that case, does your party also agree with the Supreme Court's judgment, or do you believe that there is a scope wherein the government should go ahead and restore the reservation to this community?
Vishal, I look at it like this. In our current constitutional scheme, both Article 15 and 16 of the Constitution say so. Various factors need to be looked at. UPA government looked at all the factors, all the considerations, the current social positions, the nature of backwardness before putting Jats in the list of OBC. On that a verdict has come of the Supreme Court. Now it is for the new government to examine the matter threadbare and do complete justice. Having said that, I want to say something about the Supreme Court verdict. A part of the Supreme Court verdict also says that caste cannot be a criteria for inclusion in the list of OBC. May I draw your attention to Indra Sahni's case, which is a far bigger bench, one of the biggest that we have had, where they have said caste is an important identifiable criteria for inclusion in the list. So, is Supreme Court's smaller bench overturning the verdict of the larger bench? That is something that the academics and lawyers and the government needs to ponder over.
But your party believes that this government, which is in power right now, should pursue the matter further to ensure that the reservation is restored?
Responsibility of the government is to re-examine the matter threadbare and ensure that justice is done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. So this was Randeep Surjewala, Senior Congress Leader and in charge of the media departments, the chairperson of the Communication Department of the party, in a freewheeling conversation with us. We'll come back next week with a different personality on a different issue. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.